Okay, welcome everybody. This is our Tech Talk. Today we are going to be talking about Canva with Alex, who works in the Public Relations Office at Tulsa City-County Library. She taught a Canva 101 class earlier, I think in August, which we have the recording available. If I'll email the link out after this class. And we're also going to be recording today's class, so if you can't stay for the whole thing or you want to come back and review it later, it'll be available on the Tulsa Library YouTube channel. But I will go ahead and pass it over to Alex.
Hello and welcome to Canva 201, so named because there was a Canva 101, as Caitlin mentioned. And when I'm actually going to pop the link into this presentation so I can show you all how hyperlinks work in Canva, yay, and then you'll have it when she sends out this presentation to you all next week. So because there was a Canva 101, this class kind of assumes that you either saw it or have somewhat of a higher level of experience with graphic design and graphic design platforms. But I am going to touch on getting set up with Canva and navigating Canva's learning resources because they are so great. But both of those things have been covered more in depth in Canva 101. And then we're going to go into designing and looking at all of Canva's very fun design features, such as animation, videos, and some of their new publishing tools. So getting started with Canva, there is a totally free account, which is what I'm using to show you around Canva today. As a library employee, we subscribe to the Canva Pro account. And as we go through, I'll point out some of the features that I used in the Pro version that are just really, really great. If you are a small business, you might be considering paying for Canva Pro, but the free version is also really wonderful, and I'll show you all of those awesome things you can do in it. Educators and nonprofits get Canva Pro for free. So if you are one of those, you may qualify. It's definitely worth looking into. You can find all that info right here, canva.com/pricing. Have a cat on my keyboard. Okay. So Canva Learn, like I said, this is more in depth than Canva 101, but all of their free resources are so helpful. So this Learn tab has courses for basically what you can use your Canva designs for outside of Canva, and just graphic design and social media information in general. That's what the courses are, and then the tutorials are Canva specific, so they'll show you how to do anything you actually need to do within Canva. If you go back to the home and you see this question mark in the top right, the Help Center is another learning resource, and this is really good for if you're stuck somewhere in Canva and there's something that you want to do but don't know how to do or find it. If you go to the Help Center, sorry, you can type it in, or they have all of these categories that you can find as well. And then when you're in a design, you can basically find the same page, which is really helpful, with this little help in the bottom right, and you can search for whatever you're stuck on, like resizing or whatever you need to do. So the thing about Canva is that there's a lot of kind of the same information with different access points. So just look around on Canva, you'll find what you need. Canva, for those of us who do not know, who weren't in the last class or have never seen it before, it is a wonderful user-friendly graphic design platform for professional and inexperienced designers. You can use it to create print or digital items for pretty much anything you can think of, from lesson plans, menus, business cards, mugs, reports, invitations, the list goes on. And something great about Canva is that it has templates for all of these and more, pretty much everything you can think of. It's also great as a team and brand building resource, learning as we just saw, and you can actually use it as a printing service, which we'll talk about just a little bit. Let's start designing, because this is the fun part. So here on the Canva home, you can search for templates here. You can just scroll down to look at all of the template options, or you can create a new design. And I kind of, when I'm approaching designing, it's kind of a mix. If I know really what I want the design to look like, I can just start from scratch, or if I want to build off of a template, I'll I'll look for a template, and they're so editable and customizable that really, especially if you're kind of a new designer or don't know exactly what you're looking to do, I do highly recommend the templates. But I usually find templates from within a Canva design. So let's say I want to do a social media sized post. It shows you here that this is going to be 1080 by 1080 pixels, so that's square. If I wanted, another size, I could search Twitter and it'll give me all of these Twitter sizes. I'm just going to do social media. It's opening a new design for me. And I know that I want to make a graphic for an upcoming teen art program that we're going to have at the library. So over here, you can search for things like class or art, and it'll show you some templates. I really liked this template I found. So when you click on a template, it's also just looking at the templates and going through them is a really great way to learn about all of the elements that Canva offers and different ways to use them. For example, these text boxes, we can see that they're grouped together because there's these dashed lines around them. If I go up here and click ungroup, that'll separate them so I can edit them individually. But grouping them means that I can move all of this together and they stay as they are, they stay sized relative to each other, etc. I'm gonna ungroup them so I have some more control here. I'm gonna say, join us for a And all of these are separate elements, which I find out by just clicking on them. I can move them around. I'm gonna actually get rid of some of them. And to have even more control over the text here, I'm actually gonna take this text and put it into a different text box. So I just copied it. Now by pasting it, I paste it back in, but I want it to match this font and size. So I can actually copy the style and click on this other text and it matches. Ooh. And I'm gonna shrink it down to kind of fit below. And I can group these so that they're like one piece, but not really. Another really fun thing, let's say that you know what fonts you want. If you are a font expert, which I'm not, Canva has this great styles tool. So if you go to more on the left menu here, you can find styles. And it'll kind of shuffle your colors, fonts, or both if you want. So here it's going to give me different font options based on the different elements that I had. So since these are two different text boxes, it'll change them. If they were all still in the same text box, it would have kept those fonts the same. So it's kind of knows to do elements by how they are not grouped in the Canva term, but by what kind of element they are. So I'm going to keep shuffling just to see what kind of options it gives me. And if you wanted to just change one thing or the other, you could do fonts or colors up here. You can add more elements. All of these little things that aren't actual pictures, they're like little vector images or drawings. Those are elements, not photos. So if I wanted to search for more art elements, here, type in art, and start popping those in. Some elements are more customizable than others. So this one I clicked, it shows up here, and now I see that I can change the colors, but not all of them are going to be that way. And now something actually new in Canva is when you click on a element, it'll show you similar elements probably by the same artist. If you click on the dots on each element, you'll see more information about it, like who it's by. So if you really like the design of this, you can say view more by this creator to get more by that creator. It'll also show you the keywords that were used. So if you're like, oh, I really don't know how to find paintbrushes, maybe try some of these keywords. And ta-da. All right, so what else do we have here? Alignment is really helpful. So this looks kind of wonky, right? But if I want to space these text box evenly, I'm gonna hold Shift and click each of them. I'm gonna go to Position and center them so that they're all centered relative to each other. They're not centered relative to the page yet, but I'm also going to space them vertically so that each box is separately spaced. And the group elements, this acts as one box in terms of the position tool. So it's really just separating the three boxes here. And if I wanted to group all of these elements, I'd have to ungroup the first grouped box. But it might be worth it if I want to be using like this text in a different way. So I can go ahead, select them all again by holding Shift and just clicking, and then group. And now they're all together. So I can go and hit center middle. So now it's in the very center middle of the page. Now, let's say I want this to be resized for Twitter or another social media platform, because right now it's a perfect square. This, I will point out that in the Pro version, the Resize tool is very helpful because you can just go up here, click resize, and you can type in any format that you want, and it'll just open a new Canva design. It won't change anything on this current design. It'll just make a copy in the new size that you want. So that's really useful because you can do it with multiple sizes at once. But in the free version, you have to kind of do it manually, which is still not too bad. So I'm going to go home and I'm going to go to, I'm going to open a Twitter size. I'm going to go back. Zoom is perfectly in the way of my. Okay. I'm going to copy all the elements of this design just by dragging outside the design box. And I'm going to Control C, go back to Twitter, Control V. And now all of my elements are here, but they're not perfectly sized for this format. So I have to play around with it a little bit. I can select them all and put them, well, no, I put, this is actually worth showing. So if I selected these all and told Canva to put them all in the center, it's going to do that with everything, which we don't want. So I'm going to undo that. There's this undo button in the top left. You can also Control C. And I'm just going to move them manually. There's also these guidelines in Canva. So you can see here, this shows me the center line, and now you can see the cross. So I'm right in the center of the page. But what's also really helpful is that it shows you these, the margins. So if you keep, you know, all the important information you want to be within this box so that anytime on social media, everyone's seeing that. And if you were to print it, you'll know to stay within the page margins. And you can actually leave those on by going to File and Show Margins. And now it'll keep it there. You can also keep guides and rulers on for your page. I just find that a little distracting because Canva is pretty helpful with showing you what is centered or not. So I don't usually keep those on. So for something like this, it didn't copy the background. And now, because this was the last element I copied in, it's on top of everything. If I go to position, I'm going to send it to the back, so now it's behind everything. And so you can layer elements that way by putting them, you know, in front of or behind what you need to. Okay, Now I have this grouped part, which I'm going to make sure is in the center middle. I'm going to expand this post-it, put it in the center middle. You can add more elements, etc. So that's one way to resize something. You could also, obviously, just keep adding. And actually right now, let's get into some of the extra fun elements like animation. So I'm going to create another new design. Oops. And this is going to be, I'm going to make an advertisement for some of our language classes at the library. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. This, you can see here the like the hatch design on this element. That means it's not free. Anything that is you have to pay for or that's available in the Canva Pro account, it'll stop you from using it. So if I were to try to download this design, it'll tell me that I'm using a free, a premium image and that I would need to pay for the image in order to use it. But instead, I'm just gonna find a new image because there's definitely some free, what are these called? Text boxes? Speech bubbles, here we go, thank you. Find a speech bubble. There we go. Beautiful. And I'm gonna put it to the back. All the way to the back. Oh, this text is white, so you can't see it. You'll see that this text is centered relative to the text box. So to change that, you can use this alignment tool at the top. I'm going to ungroup these again, make some more changes. And to me, it looks a little strange. I think that language and learning are too far apart. So you can also change the spacing of the lines. I'm going to change this to 1.2. It usually defaults to 1.4, but I think it depends on the font as well. And you can change the spacing between the letters, which is pretty good for like logo designing. These two features give you a lot of control of that. I'm going to go back to the styles to see what kind of colors and fonts I might get. Cute. So I'm going to duplicate this page so that I can edit it using the same features that it already has. And then I'm going to ungroup these again. And I'm actually going to flip this speech bubble so that it's a little bit different, because as we go through how this, how the videos work, each page that we create in the Canva design is going to be another segment of the video. So I want to make sure that consecutive pages have like different elements so that I know that how they might look going into each other. So this speech bubble is going to be over here. Say. Switch the alignment of the text. I'm going to make these closer together. And here it shows me where I am in the margin, so I can adjust it like so. I'm going to duplicate this page and then flip these elements. Maybe I'll give this page a color shuffle. It's a little different. Another cool thing is that once you start putting in colors that aren't just some of the default colors, Canva will group them as your document colors. So all of these colors are here so that I know I can get the same exact green or beige or whatever you need. I'm gonna make one more page. Actually, this time I'm gonna use 2 bubbles. So you could just go and find a speech bubble and put it back in, but I'm just going to copy and paste and flip it. Like so. Adding text, by the way, over here, text, you can add different sizes. You can always, I mean, any text that you add, you can completely customize. So it doesn't really matter if you choose the size that it automatically inputs. Crazy. I don't know what's going on with this text box. Just copy the text. Get the spacing right. And you can even, if I want this to be in the exact center middle of the speech bubble, I'm going to select the text, press Shift and select the bubble, then go back to position and hit center middle. And it looks a little funky because it's just going based on the boxes. It doesn't know that, you know, that there's a tail here and that I want it in the center of the circle. But for some elements, it looks better than others. And I'm going to shuffle these colors too. So now we can see what it would look like animated by going up here to animate. And all of these options without the little crown mean that they're free. The crown means that it's part of the pro account features. So let's do the block lettering, and it'll show you an example here on the page that you apply it to. You can have different animations on different pages, but I think that would look a little funky, so I'm going to go ahead and hit apply to all pages. And let's go to play. It's automatically set for 5 seconds each. If you click on the page and then the timer, you can change that. But I think 5 seconds is enough. So let's see how this would look as a video. So it's a little bit blocky and static just because the way that the block animation uses the Canva elements, but it's worth playing around with the other animation styles because they're not all the same. My favorite one is actually Tumble because it really animates each of the Canva elements, whereas you could see block wasn't, like the speech bubble wasn't actually moving. So this shows you that it tumbles. And that way, when it switches to the next page, it just looks a little bit more natural for those things to kind of come in as they do instead of just being more static and just having the text move around them. So to get this on social media, I would download it as an MP4 video. You can also download videos as GIFs. Not all of the platforms are very friendly to uploading it. Something that we'll talk about a little bit towards the end of the class is publishing directly to your social media platforms, which you can actually do now by linking them to Canva. And in the very little amount that I've played around with that, you can actually publish a GIF to Facebook, but the MP4 works just fine and it plays automatically. So I recommend sticking with that. If you do end up using any videos with sounds, you'll definitely want the MP4 because the GIF won't play sound. So let's go to video creation. So here I'm just going to open up what they say is the video size, 1920 by 1080. To me, this looks like it would work well on Facebook or Twitter, not Instagram, but that's okay. And I'm going to create a video that advertises some of the class options on our universal class tool, which is a really great learning resource through the library. So this, the videos, like we talked about before, they have multiple pages. So if you're looking at video templates, it's usually going to be multiple pages like so. So I do want all of these pages. I'm going to say apply all pages. And so now I have a 5-page Canva design. But I want to add an introduction page. So I'm going to go duplicate. Actually, duplicating is not as necessary as I make it. You can actually just create a blank page by doing add page, and then you can move it to the top with these up and down arrows. I'm going to add some text. I'm going to put a video into this background. So you'll see videos down here in the bottom left. And I'm just going to search for business. And you can see which ones are free. You can't filter by free and paid for which is, well, it can be a little bit tough. There are a lot more filtering options in the Canva Pro account. But here I'm going to find something. This one's fine. And I'm going to expand it to the full size of the design. Okay. And right now it says that this video clip is 6 seconds, so I'm going to trim it down to 5. But if there was a certain, segment of the video I liked better, then you can move this here and get that part. There are 2 videos here, and I think that they're actually, oh no, they're not grouped, but I'm going to get rid of that one and replace it. Okay. So this clip is 13 seconds. You don't need it to be that long. I'm going to put it to 3. And I'm going to have this one match it. Otherwise, what would happen is that this page would play for the longer time. This one was 12 seconds. It would have played for 12 seconds, and then this shorter video would have just kept looping, which would be weird. So it's best to set them to the same time if you're using multiple videos. And none of these videos that you're going to find in the Canva's video library are going to have sound. They're really just for the visuals. And you'll notice that this crop doesn't mean crop the time. Obviously, it actually means crop the video, which is just as easy to do by. And if I wanted a different part of this video in this frame that I've made, you can double click and then you see the full size of it and you can drag. If I wanted, that side of it. I want the crafting. Make it a full page. What else can you learn from university classes? So many things. I'll put this backward for a minute just so I can get rid of this other element. You can upload your own videos to Canva and use them here as well. I think that the video it has here is pretty fitting for this, so I'll leave that. And I uploaded the universal class logo, so I can pop that in. Where am I uploading? Awesome. It's a little blurry, but that's okay. And now we can see what this video will look like. It's telling me it's 34 seconds. It sounds about right. Let's see how it looks. And it's using the music that was included in the template. Don't think I shortened that gardening clip, but you get the idea. Really simple, and a lot of the videos that Canva already offers are really quite nice and high quality and a really good range of content.
And Alex, you mentioned that you could upload your own videos. Could you walk us through that process?
Sure. So you'd go to your upload section here and click upload media. You can get it from any of these places or your device, as I normally would do. And then I'm going to find the video I want. Start uploading and it'll go into your videos. I already uploaded this one, but voila, and it has sound. Awesome. And you can do the same thing that you can with any other videos. You can crop it, edit it, shorten it, etc. You can also upload audio. I have not yet been able to do this, but I'm sure it works the same way. If you have an MP3, you can probably go ahead and upload it. Canva's music I have not found to be as simple to edit as the videos. So for example, this one has this ukulele song in here, and it automatically sets it to the length of the video. Let's see. So now the whole video is at 20 seconds, and I know that from up here in the top right. The ukulele song is going to cover the whole length, but you can, choose which clip of it or get rid of it entirely. And then you can find other music options. In music, there are not as many free options as there are videos, but they'll do the trick. And like I said, you can upload your own. It's probably the way to go. So you can also, let's see what happens if we animate the elements of this video. So I'm gonna go with, let's do block this time. So the text is being animated over a moving image. Lovely. And like I said, I would recommend downloading this as an MP4. If you are ready to go ahead and publish it to your platforms, you can do that as well by clicking the three dots, and then you'll see the options under share. So if you haven't linked any social media, you'll need to do that. It'll ask you to do that once you try to share it. Something worth noting is that you cannot actually publish directly to a Facebook profile. It has to be a Facebook page. So this is really if you are, have some kind of business page and you want content for it, that'll work. But if it's just your personal profile, it's unfortunately not going to work. You'll just have to download it and upload it like you would normally. So it's still pretty simple, but I did link a Facebook page so I could show an example how crazy easy it is. When you're setting up your Facebook, it'll ask you which page or pages you want linked, and you can select them. Then I hit Facebook page. I'm gonna go with video. If I want it to be, if I was just publishing like one piece of this as an image, you can select image and then just switch page. Obviously it wouldn't move, but if I want the whole video, I'll select video, all pages, write the post, and then hit publish, and it'll go right to that Facebook page. Another cool thing that's new, but it's only for Canva Pro, is that you can actually schedule content. So this would allow you to open up a little calendar, and then you can say, okay, publish this to Facebook on this date at this time. So also really a good option for small businesses if that's how you're using Canva and social media. The last thing I want to point out about animations is that the stickers are different than animations. So let's go back to a design we made and add some moving pieces. For example. And the stickers are part of elements. It's a little tough to filter them in this free version here. If you have Canva Pro, you can filter by something that's animated, something that's not, something that's free, something that's not, etc. But here, if you were to add something that moved, we'll just pop it in. And now it's just an element of the video. I think that these types of elements work best if you're just making something really, really simple. I think that when there's too many elements in the videos, they get a little glitchy, even if you download it as an MP4, because it is kind of in beta, as it says. But if you're just making like, let's say, something like for Instagram, then I would recommend exporting as a GIF or a GIF and uploading to Instagram, and then it will just like kind of play on a loop. You could just export it as the one page, not as a full video. But anything that is multiple pages that really does have, that uses like the text animation or any videos, I recommend sticking with them. Videos, music, and printing. This is really cool. If you wanted this on pretty much any item, you can do that through Canva. So, and it'll show you a preview if you wanted business cards, t-shirts, mugs, anything. It'll give you the price, it'll resize the design for you so you can see how it looks. And then you can just go ahead and order it and it'll ship to you. So if you don't have access to a printer or a printing service, Canva can be your very own printing service. And those are the advanced Canva tools. Do we have questions? Is there more Canva we want to see? Let me know.
Yeah, if you have questions, feel free to drop them down in the chat. I have to say, that font color shuffle is super handy. I think you showed us that last time, but I did not explore it. So thank you for sharing.
It's really fun. Yeah, it's a good tool.
So I know you're in charge of a lot of the library's social media pages. Do you use Canva to create a lot of videos for social media?
Only recently have I actually started playing around with the videos. I actually started learning about the video and animation capabilities in preparing for this class. So thank you to Caitlin for pushing me to do that.
Very cool.
I have just recently started creating some videos for the library, and I can actually show us one now. A lot of Canva logins lately. So here's one I made recently. That was a little bit longer. It doesn't have any sound, so I'll just let it play.
I think you may need to reshare your screen or share a different window.
Oh, yes. Is that correct? Maybe? Do you see the pizza? Yes, okay, great. All right, let's play this, let it roll.
Oh man, I love World Food A to Z. That is such a good database.
It is really good. And I set each of these slides to play for 10 seconds, so you have time to read through
the
text.
Well, very cool. I like that. Are you going to be posting that on Facebook?
Yes, it's on Facebook. Hopefully it'll also be on Instagram as well because of the magic resize. And since we're in Canva Pro, let me show you that really quick. It's so easy and it does it with each of the pages. They're now resized. And for some things that are like, you know, going from a Twitter post that's so horizontal to something perfectly square like Instagram, there's always going to be the need for some manual adjustments. So I'll have to go in and, you know, kind of move things around to fit the size of the canvas, but having all of the pages automatically resized is still really helpful.
It's handy.
Yes.
Well, Alex, thank you so much for helping out today with sharing all of these tools. I'm going to stop